It starts with lemonade and sunlight. Every Saturday morning, Walter Brown sets up 2 lawn chairs under the magnolia tree in his front yard. One for him, one for anybody passing by. He's 72, retired, widowed, and deeply Southern in that warm, slow-smiling way. Folks in the Ridgeway Palms retirement community call him Mr. Walt, and every child on the block knows that if his porch light's on, he's got fresh cookies cooling in the kitchen. The Ridgeway Palms subdivision is supposed to be peaceful. Wide sidewalks, identical townhomes painted in hush pastels, and flags fluttering from every mailbox. But beneath the prim fences and forced smiles, there's a quiet tension in the air, the kind that only people of color can feel without anyone saying a word. Walter knows how to read it. He was one of the first black homeowners in this upscale, active living community. Bought in when folks still side-eyed him at HOA meetings and whispered about neighborhood standards like he couldn't hear. That was 5 years ago. Since then, he's made himself indispensable, organizing potlucks, volunteering as the unofficial handyman, and playing dominoes on Tuesdays with the other retirees at the community center. And then she moved in. Karen Whitmore, 60-something, bleach blonde bob, pearl earrings that matched her smirk, moved in with a clipboard under one arm and an attitude under the other. Within a month, she'd gotten herself voted in as interim HOA president after the previous one had a stroke. Claimed she just wanted to bring order to the neighborhood. Walter remembers the first time he saw her measuring his mailbox with a tape measure. "Afternoon," he'd said, smiling politely. Karen didn't look up. "This box is 2 inches higher than regulation. You'll need to adjust it." He didn't argue, just lowered the thing that afternoon and told himself not to make a fuss. But that was the first crack in the eggshell. Over the next few months, little things started piling up. Emails with vague threats about non-compliance. A new beautification fee that seemed to only affect certain homes. Then came the community investment opportunity, a glossy flyer handed out by Karen herself, inviting residents to pool their money into a high-yield community development fund that she personally recommended. Walter didn't buy in, but Betty Morales did. So did Joe and Rena Taylor. So did at least a dozen others, many of them older, many of them black or Latino, all of them just looking to stretch their retirement dollars a little further. It seemed harmless, helpful, even, until Betty showed up on Walter's porch one morning, eyes red-rimmed, hands trembling around a crumpled bank statement. She said we'd see returns by March, she whispered. "Now my account's empty, Walt. Gone." Walter glances across the street at Karen's house. It's pristine, shutters freshly painted, garden perfectly edged, and behind her white curtains a shadow moves, watching, waiting. Something ain't right. And Walter? He's done playing polite. Betty's not the only one. Over the next 2 weeks, Walter starts hearing quiet knocks on his door. Early in the morning, just after dusk. Neighbors he's known for years. People who used to wave with both hands and laugh with their whole chests, now shuffle up with hunched shoulders and fear in their eyes. "My account's locked. I called the number on the flyer. It's disconnected. I asked Karen, and she said the market's unstable. But we never saw a contract. Walt, did you?" He didn't, because he never gave her a dime. Walter keeps a notebook by the armchair now, jotting down names and amounts. 22 people, nearly all of them black, Latino, or Filipino. Almost every white resident either didn't invest or withdrew early. He sees the pattern forming, but he still doesn't have proof. He tries asking Karen, politely, carefully, during the HOA's monthly meeting, just wondering if we'll be getting an update on the community fund. He says, standing in the back of the clubhouse, voice calm. Karen doesn't even look up from her clipboard. "The fund is in a transition period," she replies, flipping a page. "Anyone with further questions can schedule a private meeting." Walter raises an eyebrow. "With you?" She finally looks at him then, eyes narrowing just a touch. "Unless you prefer, I refer you to legal counsel. Some residents have been spreading misinformation. Could be considered slander." The room goes quiet. A white man in the front, Bill, who mows his lawn every Tuesday at 6 a.m., chuckles. "See? Always drama." Walter bites the inside of his cheek. He's not new to this. They call it professionalism when it's from her, and aggression when it's from him. After the meeting, he sees her smiling, tight and triumphant, while slipping into her Lexus SUV. No emotion, no fear, just confidence. Entitlement wrapped in pearls. The next day, Betty gets a compliance citation for having an unauthorized decorative bird bath. So does Joe for excessive lawn growth, even though he just cut it that morning. Walter knows a warning shot when he sees one. That night, he sits on his porch, journal in hand, staring across at Karen's house. A motion-activated camera glows red above her garage. Security lights blaze over her driveway like she's guarding a fortress. She's not hiding. She thinks she's untouchable. Walter taps the pen against his knee. "You picked the wrong neighborhood, Karen," he mutters to himself. Then he makes a call. His grandson, Malik, picks up on the third ring. "Hey, Pop, I need your help. You still working cybercrime at the Bureau?" A pause. "Yeah. Why?" Walter leans back, eyes narrowed on the shadows moving behind Karen's curtain. "Because something ain't right here, and I think this woman just stole half the neighborhood's life savings." And for the first time in weeks, Walter smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. Malik shows up the next morning in an unmarked black sedan, his FBI badge tucked discreetly in his jacket pocket. He doesn't wear it on his chest, not in neighborhoods like this, especially not while walking up to a black man's front porch. Walter hugs him hard and fast. "You got time to look into something?" Malik nods. "I've got 2 weeks leave and a portable forensic kit in the trunk. Let's find out who this Karen really is." They get to work. Walter provides a notebook, dates, names, approximate amount invested. Malik sets up at the kitchen table, connecting to satellite data through a secure laptop. While neighbors pass by waving like nothing's wrong, he's tracing emails, domain names, and checking corporate registry databases. The Community Development Fund doesn't exist. The LLC Karen used to collect the money was formed 6 months ago in Delaware under her maiden name. The account listed was a personal checking account. No disclosures, no legal protections, just pure, calculated fraud. Walter feels the heat rise in his chest. That night, he calls a meeting. Quiet, private, in the community clubhouse after hours. 15 neighbors gather. Betty's shaking, Joe's furious, and Rena just sits silently, eyes glazed. Walter lays it all out. Malik's findings, the trail of money, the non-existent fund. "She took it," Walter says quietly, "and she's using the HOA to silence y'all." "Can we sue?" someone asks. "We will," Malik answers. "But first, we need more. We need hard evidence of coercion. Emails, audio, video, anything showing she manipulated or intimidated people into investing." That's when Mrs. Alvarez speaks up. I have voicemails," she says, "from when I tried to withdraw my money. She threatened to fine me, said my yard would be reassessed if I caused trouble." "Bingo." Malik nods. "Forward those to me." But Karen senses something shifting. The next morning, Walter finds a violation notice taped to his door. Unapproved gathering. Subject to HOA disciplinary hearing. That evening, a white couple, new to the neighborhood, approaches Walter during his porch watch. They smile nervously. "She said you were organized in dissent," the woman says, clutching her purse tighter. "Is everything okay?" Walter forces a smile. "Depends on your definition of okay." She nods slowly and walks off, tugging her husband by the hand. Karen's winning the optics game, painting Walter as hostile, the black troublemaker, the rabble-rouser. And the worst part? People believe her. Walter vents that night on the porch, staring into the dark. Same tricks, different decade. Malik leans against the rail. She's weaponizing power the way they always do. Hide behind rules. Pretend it's business, not bias. Walter glances at him. What if she catches on? She already has. That's why she's escalating. Sure enough, the next HOA newsletter accuses a resident of spreading misinformation, warning that such actions could result in civil consequences. She's threatening lawsuits now, but Malik's still digging. And one late night, he finds a smoking gun, an audio file left behind in cached voicemail data. Karen, speaking to a potential investor. You want in early. We're prioritizing people who actually care about the community, people who keep their homes neat, if you know what I mean. Some folks around here just aren't a good fit. That pause, that tone, the weaponized politeness. Malik slams his laptop shut. She's done. Walter breathes out slow. The kind of breath that tastes like relief and rage. But they're not ready yet. They need to time this right. And when they strike, it'll be public, explosive, and final. It's the Ridgeway Palms HOA quarterly meeting, and Karen walks into the clubhouse like she owns the deed to the air, pearls around her neck, clipboard in hand, smug little smile curling her lips. The room is full, every seat taken. Even residents who usually skip these things showed up tonight. The tension is thick. Walter sitting in the second row, pressed slacks, iron shirt, and a stillness that feels like the eye of a storm. Malik stands in the back, blending in like any other quiet grandson visiting for the week. No badge, no words. Karen taps the mic. Before we begin today's agenda, she says, her voice smooth as lacquered oak, I'd like to address the recent misinformation. There have been some unfounded accusations about the HOA and the Ridgeway Development Fund. She pauses, eyes sweeping the crowd, lingering just a moment too long on Walter. I want to be clear, she continues, that all investments were voluntary and all paperwork was filed in accordance with state guidelines. Anyone who claims otherwise is either confused, misinformed, or looking to cause division. Soft murmurs ripple through the room. Some folks nod. Others exchange uneasy glances. Walter stands. Karen doesn't flinch. Mr. Brown, if you have a comment, please submit it to the board. I've got a question. Walter interrupts, calm and steady. What's the name of the investment bank managing the fund? Karen smiles tightly. That information is confidential and only available to verified participants. I asked around. Walter says, voice rising just a notch. Every verified participant said you personally manage the money. No fund manager. No contracts. No financial statements. She blinks, just once. That's slander, Mr. Brown. I call it fraud. The air snaps. Karen sets down her clipboard, the smile curdling. You think you can stand here and accuse me? You didn't even participate in the fund. You're not a stakeholder. You're just disruptive. Always have been. That lands hard. Gasps, shuffling in chairs. Walter doesn't blink. You targeted people who trusted you. People you thought wouldn't ask questions. Because they're older. Because they're immigrants. Because they're black. Karen's face tightens. You're done, Walter. No, he says, stepping aside. You are. Malik moves forward. He sets a small speaker on the table. Clicks play. Karen's voice fills the room. We're prioritizing people who actually care about the community, people who keep their homes neat, if you know what I mean. Some folks around here just aren't a good fit. A sharp inhale slices through the silence. Then another voice, Mrs. Alvarez. She said if I asked for my money back, I'd be fined. She said my home would be reassessed. More murmurs. Anger now. Shock. Karen's eyes widen. You can't use that. Malik steps forward, badge flashing for the first time. Karen Whitmore, you are the subject of an active investigation for financial fraud, intimidation, and civil rights violations. Gasps echo around the clubhouse. Karen tries to stand, but her legs falter. I'm the president of this HOA. Walter walks up to her, steady as a mountain, leans close. Not anymore. Outside, unmarked black SUVs roll into the parking lot. Inside, the room erupts. And Karen? She just stands there, trembling in a sea of folding chairs, watching the power she thought she owned crumble like wet plast. Karen's frozen at the front of the room, but her eyes dart like a cornered animal. The calm in the clubhouse shatters as two FBI agents step to the double doors. Dark suits, crisp voices, full authority. Karen Whitmore? One asks, even though they already know. This is outrageous, she snaps, straightening her blazer. You can't come in here. This is private property. This is my... You've been under investigation for 6 weeks, Malik says, stepping beside them. We traced over $700,000 in resident investments to your personal accounts. Not a single dollar went toward development. Gasps turn to full-throated outbursts. Betty clutches her chest. Mr. Wu stands up with shaking hands. My retirement... Karen's mouth opens, but no words come out. This is a mistake, she finally hisses. This is political. That man, she points at Walter, has been targeting me ever since I moved here. That man, Malik cuts in, helped us piece together every detail of your scheme. And he didn't do it for politics. He did it for justice. Karen backs away slowly, voice cracking. I have a lawyer. The agent holds up a printed ledger. You opened 3 shadow accounts under false names. We have email logs, phone recordings, and now sworn testimonies from 5 residents, including the one you threatened with reassessment. I was helping this neighborhood, she screams. I gave them a vision. They were just too small-minded to understand. Walter steps forward. Lady, he says quietly, you stole from veterans, grandparents, people who trusted you because you smiled and said you were revitalizing community. You didn't revitalize anything. You drained people dry and called a fundraiser. Karen's voice quivers now. They gave it willingly. There were forms. There was paperwork. Forms you forged, Malik says, pulling up a photo on his phone and turning it to her. Witness statement from your former assistant. She kept copies. The dates don't match the signatures. Karen's face blanches. She turns fast, too fast, and tries to bolt for the exit. But the second agent steps right into her path and cuffs her wrists with practiced ease. You are under arrest for financial fraud, elder abuse, wire fraud, and civil rights violations. You have the right to remain silent. No, she shrieks. This is harassment. He's behind this. Her finger flings toward Walter one last time. He wanted to make me look bad. But no one's listening anymore. Phones are out. Recording. Streaming. The woman who held this neighborhood in a chokehold is now being let out in handcuffs, screaming about conspiracies and respect and how they'll all regret turning on her. They won't. As the door swings closed behind her, there's a long, pregnant pause. Then Betty speaks up. She stole every dime I'd saved, and I still feel sorry for her. Walter turns confused. Not because she's innocent, she says, wiping her eyes. Because she really thought she'd never get caught. Outside, blue lights pulse against the walls. Neighbors pour out onto the lawn, whispering, hugging, shaking their heads. Someone laughs bitterly. Karen is placed gently, ironically, into the back of one of the SUVs. The HOA board members who had once clapped for her, they disappear quietly, some already peeling their names off mailbox signs. But Walter stays rooted, watching the end of an empire that was built on deception. He doesn't smile. Not yet, because justice isn't about revenge. It's about restoration. And that part comes next point 3 weeks later. Karen Whitmore's mugshot is still on the front page of the Reprise Weekly. Hair disheveled, eyes wild, pearls long gone. The headline reads, HOA president charged with multi-state fraud. Faces 30 years. Walter folded the paper once, then again, before sliding it beneath his porch flower pot. He doesn't need to read it anymore. He lived it. The neighborhood hasn't been the same since the raid. Quiet, yes. Peaceful, finally. But there's something else. Like the first breath after a long storm, when the air still crackles but you know the thunder's past. The HOA board dissolved days after Karen's arrest. Turns out she'd never even filed proper paperwork with the county. She had no legal authority. Just signatures collected under pressure, and smiles sharpened into weapons. The FBI's investigation uncovered over $1.2 million siphoned from elderly residents across 3 subdivisions. Walter was the first to testify. Do you think she targeted you because you were vocal? The prosecutor had asked. Walter leaned in. I think she targeted all of us because she thought we wouldn't fight back, that we'd be too tired, too polite, too black. Now, the neighborhood walks lighter. Not perfect, but lighter. Malik drops by every Sunday for coffee. No badge, no recorder, just a grandson and grandfather, sitting on a porch that almost got sold from under them. She's taking a plea, Malik says today, stirring sugar into his mug. 10 years minimum. No parole. Walter nods. Long enough for people to remember her name means fraud now, not authority. And they do remember. At the Ridgeway Community Potluck, folks who used to avoid eye contact now bring pies to Walter's door. Mr. Wu shakes his hand. Twice. Even board member Higgins, once Karen's lapdog, mutters a quiet apology while refilling his lemonade. I should have asked more questions, he says. I just assumed she knew what she was doing. Walter doesn't rub it in. Assumptions almost cost him everything. That night, as the sun dips low, casting long shadows across manicured lawns, Walter finds himself standing at the creek's edge, the same spot where Karen once told him to stay in his lane. He breathes deep. It smells like honeysuckle and second chances. Behind him, footsteps crunch softly. Granddad, Malik says, I got a surprise for you. Walter turns, eyebrow raised. From the car, Malik pulls a rolled-up banner. Together, they unfurl it. Ridgeway Palms Community Garden, in honor of Walter Brown. City just approved it. Malik says, whole eastern lots being turned into raised beds. Kids come plant here this summer. Some of the folks you helped, they pitched in for the sign. Walter swallows the lump in his throat. All I did was speak up. Malik smiles. Sometimes that's all it takes. They hang the sign beneath the oak tree where Walter first caught Karen's fake investment forms in a file she dropped. The same oak she wanted cut down to raise property value. Now it stands taller than ever. And so does Walter. The neighborhood may never be perfect. Racism doesn't vanish with a single arrest. But tonight, the breeze carries laughter, not tension. Hope, not fear. Karen thought no one would ever question her. That age made people quiet, and race made them invisible. She was wrong. Walter Brown saw her for what she was. And when no one else would speak up, he did, loud enough for the whole world to hear.